far outstrips that kind of numbers. I mean, it goes up to the thousands. It's crazy.
So what do you want to do now?
Well, we want to show another development plan. And I've shifted DNR from being just regulatory into development, because it's a yes, no, but you're not really, unless you propose another development model, it's just the regulation on its own falls short of what we want to do. So what I want to do now is use the DNR money that we have, which is sizable, and work together with other international agencies and other members of the civic society to come up with development models, which I have been successful at doing when I was in ABS, and show that, because there's two approaches here. One is the area development approach, where you see the area and you say, wow, look what's there, the biodiversity, the mountains, the rivers, the streams, whatever is there, why don't we take care and nurture and protect it so that it benefits the community living there. The extractive industry, the paradigm is, there's gold, there's nickel, there's copper there. Oh my God, let's get it out of there. We get it out of there, we kill everything that's there, and who do you benefit? I mean, the taxes go to Manila. Mm-hmm. I mean, even in mining, 82% of the net revenue goes to them.
Yes.
And then 95% of that net revenue goes out of the local economy. It doesn't circulate. So we're actually killing ourselves by continuing to do this. And in fact, if you take open pits are there for life, forever and a day. And not only that, they're a financial liability to government, because after the miners go up and leave, and I have been to some legacy mines, which means abandoned mines, who will, if these open pits aren't taken care of, then what will happen is they will overflow into our rivers and streams and totally kill everything. So the government has no choice but to take care of them. So these open pits are actually a financial liability to government for eternity. Like in Samar, the Bagaka mines, we spent 300 million there. I know one mine, and I won't say it right now because it will really rock the boat, where the mercury level is, the allowable mercury level is 0.002, allowable. The mercury level in this mine that has been abandoned is 12. What are we doing, It's gone to the river, it's gone to the bay, and then just across that are hot springs. Yes. So that whole area could have been an ecological, ecotourism paradise, and it's a hazard zone now. Why? They just went up and left.
Why was this allowed to happen?
Exactly. That's also the problem. It's the inefficiency of government, and it is the corruption. I mean, all regulatory agencies, especially here in the Philippines, are seedbeds of corruption, because you sell you sell the permits, you sell the clearance, you look the other way just so that they can continue to do what they do. And that's the prime reason. It's corruption, it's inefficiency, and it's a lack of understanding. Maybe I won't even say lack of understanding. It's corruption. It's corruption. That's why it's happened.
How aren't you being idealistic by being able to take on these huge problems and turn it around in a short period of time?
Well, I have, idealism means you're stuck in ideals and you haven't really done anything, and you're just anchoring everything you're doing on some belief or notion or dream that it can happen. But I have experiences, like when I was in ABS-CBN, I have experiences where I put in $1 million.
Yes.
There was this beautiful mountain, and the people there were really poor. I put in $1 million, and the community there is earning 30 million a year. I have other sites in Puerto Princesa where I put in 1.5, and they're earning 40 million a year. And in the Yolanda area, I have 4, 5, 7 different projects where I put in, and on the 10th month, they get the money back. And the salaries go up to 1.5 million, up to the millions of pesos. I have profound, consistent experiences of how taking care of the environment is absolutely the way to go in this country. And that extractive industries which damage the environment kill quality of life and benefit only a few. And this is what I wanted to say also, Maria, is that you're asking why am I doing all of this? It's because in society, there are always different kinds of forces. There are forces of selfishness, forces of greed, there's big business, and then there are the poor. And I feel it behooves on government to play the middle path. The middle path means you look at this, and then you make decisions. But if you're co-opted by big business, who's gonna take care of the poor? Is there any way that the poor, the fishermen, and the farmers can ever stand away against political interests and big business? They'll eat them up alive. And if the government shirks in this responsibility, what's gonna happen to the poor? If we don't do our job, if we anchor and make our decisions because we're bought by big business. And the sad reality is, Maria, is that mining money and big business fund political campaigns. And so what happens, there are congressmen and senators and whoever who are obligated to mining interests and big business, and it's not right. It's not right. In fact, there are some that even do the mining themselves. So I mean, we should there should be some line, yeah.
So this is good for you to say that. So some of the mining companies are now saying that there was a lack of transparency in your process. How did you decide which mines to close down?
I think they were saying that there was absolute transparency. We did the mining audit.
Yes.
And then after the mining audit, we gave them show cause. That's the procedure. And then they replied to the show cause. And then after the end of that show cause, at the end of the reply, we then decide on whether the mine should be closed or suspended or allowed to go on. What happened is that, and that's a procedure, and we followed it from beginning to end. What happened is that in the press con, they wanted access to. Let me explain it further. They gave the show cause, and then we have to review.
Right.
So to speed things up, I convened committees, which I wasn't mandated to do. I just thought that I would want to do it. So a multi-sectoral team, which went around to speed up the process, and it was like 6 months already, and they had only checked out 15, and I was getting irritated already because even the president says he wants things fast. So I just decided to go in it myself. Now, the findings that they have validate my findings on the violation. They themselves say that there are violations. Where we differed was the action taken. I wanted to close and I wanted to suspend, and they wanted to fine. And you're just fine. I mean, the rivers are red, they're in a watershed, and you're just fine. What are you doing, And for that reason, I said, since I'm making the decisions and they're just recommendatory, why should I even show it? But if they want to see it, they can see it, I just thought it would complicate things.
So this is interesting. You agreed in the mines to get it. It's just the action, fines versus
we agreed on the violations.
Yes.
They also saw that there were violations.
Right.
But their penalties were just fines.
Got it.
And I didn't agree at all. So that's why I decided I'm not going to follow you.
So globally, well, you've known these stats, right? The Philippines is the top nickel producer. 10% of the nickel that's been, when you shut down some of those mines, 10% of the world's supply will be affected. I guess, does that matter, or is your focus here?
The nickel that people want and they need for their cell phones or computers is not more important than the quality of life of our people. It's like this farmer. He was said, I'll say it in English because.
Please.
Should I say in Tagalog what he said?
You can do either.
I'll just say, sinabi nila, bakit ako nagsi-cellphone? Bakit ako may kotse? Kasi ayaw ko ng mina. Tapos then he said, sige, hahamunin ko sila. Hindi ako magsi-cellphone, hindi ako magkakotse, pero wag din sila kumain ng isang buwan ng produkto na magsasaka. Tapos tingnan natin kung sinong unang mamatay na dilat ang mata. So in other words, why is the nickel that people want more important than the food we eat and the air we breathe and the quality of life of our children? Why will giving the world nickel kill my opportunity lost of upgrading the economy of this country? If we keep our country beautiful, I can sell that, it's ecotourism, we get our biodiversity. Maria, our biodiversity, like we have shells and sponges that can cure cancer. We have venom from our snails that is better than morphine. We have medicinal plants to the kazoo. Why is the nickel that somebody gets more important than the biodiversity which can service the world? In just even more importantly than the nickel can, and where our communities can earn from. So we make our choices. Do I choose between the nickel and the gold, or the biodiversity that can help our people, or the water which our people need to live by? We make our choices, and the choices must always be on the side of social justice, because that is enshrined in the Philippine Constitution. I'm just following the law.
You said that there are powerful forces and money and corruption allied against you in this mission, in this cause, right? Will you succeed? What are your chances of succeeding?
Well, my solace comes from the fact that there may be politicians and there may be business interests. But if you look in social media, 99% is on my favor, no? And if these politicians want to get elected again, then they should consider that actually the percentage and the majority of the Filipino people don't want destruction of the environment. And they do also feel that we shouldn't give in to big business. They're already so rich. No? Why don't they make money wherein nobody suffers? And there is a way to do that. And I have no problem. I mean, I'm from a business family. I have no problem at all with people making money. I do have a problem when the operations of that business kills water, adversely affects life, and keeps our people poor.
And my last question is, again, just to make sure that we have your vision correctly, you want to take, since mining only provides 1% of the money flowing back to our economy, right?
0.6% of total employment,
So
0.004% of government revenue. So we're losing out here big time, and we're suffering big time.
And so you want to replace mining with other industries, livelihood industries based on
I want to do an area development approach, because it's a mistake to believe that where it's mineral land, the only thing that can happen there is mining. I have friends that live on mineral land, and they're producing a lot of money on agriculture, and the place is an ecotourism place. There are who said that the only way to do things is to mine and excavate our resources. So what I would like to propose to the country and to the government is an area development approach wherein we take care of the resources of the area for the people of that area. Then our GDP can come up, then the stock market can come up, but it's based on common principles of decency and fair play, because the village enterprises that are there all around the country and maximizing the resources of our country will redound on the economy. But it's based on decency and fair play, not on killing the opportunity and whatever we have. No?
How do you see these mining companies exiting? I mean, obviously they are unhappy with this. It will cut their business. They'll come back to the government. What's the best case scenario that you see?
Well, we didn't fail all the mines. There are mining companies that have succeeded. And I want to work together with them, because all mining companies have what's known as the SDMP funds. And these SDMP funds run up to the 150 million, 30, 40 million. Is just unreal. And I know what you can do with 1 million, with 2 million. And they're just giving, even these SDMP funds are not used well. They're given to the politicians, they're given to one community again and again and again. And it doesn't create any kind of area development impact. So if I were to work with them, with the use of their SDMP funds, if we were to do a total economic evaluation, they might even come out ahead, because I've used their SDMP funds without asking them for more money to, in fact, create a difference in the area. I mean, people might even begin to love them, no? But they mustn't do anything which adversely affects the environment. If they can operate in that way, then I will help them make an even bigger difference without even asking them for more money.
So you have actually dedicated your life to the environment. I mean, before you became
people,
Energy Secretary, right?
Environment.
Yes, to the environment. I'm so sorry. Before you became Environment Secretary, is this the balance Are you too much of an activist, or are you finding that balance between what will be good for business and the economy?
I'm
as
so
well?
not against big business, you know. I mean, why don't, I mean, they can, in the areas which are beautiful, they can put up eco lodges. I'll even help them make money. I mean, they can come up with businesses which are founded on a biodiversity. They should just pay the people really well. I mean, there's so many ways to make money. We don't have to make money by killing the future that we have. I mean, there's oodles of ways to make money. Costa Rica has zero mining, but and they have zero poverty. You know, they have zero poverty and zero. I mean, Bhutan has zero mining. They have free health, free education, and they're said to be one of the happiest countries in the planet. They're making $2 billion every year. Every year, they supply water to China and India, and they have zero mining. So who said that mining is the only way to make money? Yeah.
I also want to ask you about something you said at the press conference, which was you were looking at the mines in wash basin areas. I mean, why exactly is that important, and why did you want to stop the mining in these areas?
The minings, I said we should close. 15 of them are in watershed areas. Okay, a watershed is an area where which it nurtures and protects the source of water of that entire locality. If you see the graph of a watershed area, you'll see rivers and streams and aquifers. You'll see it. It's by satellite. So any kind of extractive industry in that area puts all these aquifers and rivers and streams at risk. And depending on these rivers and streams are communities. Water is life. I mean, the gold and nickel people want cannot certainly be more important than the water our people drink and the air we breathe. We just need to make the right choices, and we need to have the right policies. And so that's why in DNR decided that we cannot have any extractive industries in functional watersheds. That, you know, we cannot have any activity there which impairs the ability of the watershed to perform its function. That's maybe putting it more sublime.
Fantastic. This really is my last question now, is you are turning decades of practices upside down, and you're drawing a line. At the same time, you've pointed out there are mining funds different things, right? Will you survive? What are the challenges ahead for Gina Lopez?
You know, when I took on the job, my main concern was if it would affect my spiritual life, because politics is so, as you know, chaotic. It's an arena of power and money, and so what's keeping me alive here is my spirituality, and it's to this that I live by, which means that. Well, this is different from religion, like going to mass and going to confessional and reading the Bible. I mean, by spirituality, I mean the way I am aligned with forces of truth and light. And so that's how I intend to survive this whole experience. And it is in this alignment with forces of truth and light and goodness that I am making each and every decision that I make. And it is to this that I commit to continue to perform my functions as DNR Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We've been speaking with Environment Secretary Gina Lopez. I'm Maria Ressa for Rappler Talk. Thanks for